Sacred Souls. So today I want to get on here and talk about spiritual bypassing and what that is and the dangers of that. And I want to bring it up because, I identify as a spiritual person. I am very much into prayer, meditation, healing. I'm into that woo-woo stuff like crystals and oracle cards, and I actually incorporate the divine feminine and the power and the concept of that into my coaching program, as well as really encouraging people to develop their spiritual connection and path. I think that's why it's incredibly important for me to bring this topic up and talk about it. So basically, spiritual bypassing is when you ignore real world problems by focusing on the spiritual aspect of things. So this was brought up because I was kind of having a debate with someone I follow who has a spiritual account, and they post lots of spiritual stuff that I really like. But we ended up getting into a debate that was prompted by the topic of color blindness, which this person was promoting as something that we should have, which is being blind to color, or racial blindness, I believe they called it, being blind to that so that we can, all be on the same page and all kind of get along. But my point in what I was talking to them about was that that's actually a privilege to be able to be colorblind, because for many people, the color of their skin affects them on a daily basis, and they don't have the ability to not see that color because it very much affects their lives in a real way. And I think that, the other thing that came up was how essentially we are all spirit, and we are all one. We are all deeply connected, and we come from the same source. And the truth of our reality is that we are love and that we are connected. And I very much believe that at a core level. But I think that for spiritual people, especially who have privilege, it's incredibly important to recognize that in this world that we live in, that we've incarnated in these lives, that race and sexism and homophobia and the various identities that we hold, or privileges that we may or may not have, create very real structures of inequality that we have to deal with in our daily lives. And as spiritual beings, we can't ignore that or bypass that because we believe and know that we are all equal at a deeper level, because in this world, that's not how it's playing out. And I also believe that this is why, another reason why it's so crucial for us to do our inner work, is because inner work requires us to dismantle beliefs that don't serve us and our growth, but also to dismantle beliefs that are creating discord and inequality in our society. So we have to take a look at the ways that we have had prejudices, the ways that we've ignored our own privilege, the ways that we have actually reinforced attitudes of racism or sexism. I've done this before. I know that I have, and it's not something I'm proud of. And now it's something that I look back at, I try to have compassion for myself, but I also know that I have to change, the way that I think about these things. And I have to prioritize the perspective of people who are extremely marginalized, because they are always having to educate others about their struggles, and that's not fair. It's my job to educate myself about other people's struggles and about how they walk through the world, so that I can see them with compassion, and so that we can really create change and transformation in this world. That happens both on the inside through our inner work. We create change within ourselves. We rewire our beliefs both about ourselves and about others. But then, that doesn't mean that we can just completely retreat within and ignore the outside world, because we also have to create change there in a really social way of fighting for social justice and political change and action, taking action. Sometimes we do need to retreat within for a while to have some time to focus on that. I understand that. I had to do that myself. But now I'm recognizing that I have to get involved again. I have to be a part of this world. That's why I came here, was to create change in multiple ways. I really believe that's why we're all here, and that we all have a purpose to create positive change in the world in different ways through our unique perspective and our unique gifts. But I think that especially as members of the spiritual community, which really is here on social media, we connect here. We don't always connect that way in real life. I'm finding ways to do that here in California, but for a lot of people, online may be the only way that you really connect with your spiritual community, and therefore we get really influenced by what other people are doing and saying. But we need to be really grounded in our intuition, and also be really aware that we cannot use spirituality to bypass the reality of inequality in this world, and that we still have a responsibility to create change on a societal level. So if you didn't check out my post that I just made, I quoted Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I talk a little bit further about this, so please check that out. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this, and I want to acknowledge that I may not be perfect in discussing this and in talking about it, because it's a delicate subject, and it's a complex subject. But I feel that as a mixed race woman with white skin, that it is actually my responsibility to at least try to create these dialogues and conversations. I really believe it's incredibly important for us to have discussion and conversation that includes multiple perspectives, because otherwise we just create more division, and that doesn't create change. We have to be able and willing to listen to each other and to open up that way and have that vulnerability to hear others, and also acknowledge within ourselves the ways that we've made mistakes, and really kind of try to dismantle our ego as much as possible so that we can create change within ourselves and within the world. So thank you for taking your time to listen to this. I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you soon.